Hello, this video will provide faculty with steps for creating D2L rubrics as well as viewing the rubric statistics. The D2L rubrics are mainly used in the discussion and the assignment area. Faculty can use the same rubric to grade multiple activities, so they can copy it over from other classes as well as use it for all the discussions in the class if they like, or all the assignments in the class if they like. And then faculty can also view the rubric statistics to get an idea of how the students are scoring on that particular assignment, just some generalized data for that particular course, or how they're using it over time. So if you've used this assignment rubric multiple semesters, you'll be able to look at the data and see generally over the course of all these semesters how students were scoring. The first step is going to be to create your rubric, and you can do this with any course, it doesn't matter. And keep in mind that even if you create the rubric within one course, you can still share it among other courses and use it for other courses. So you want to go into any course and you want to choose course admin, and then you want to choose rubrics. And then from here, you'll see any rubrics that you've already created, as well as some that have been shared at the org level for you to use that have been created by other professors. But in this case, we want to make a brand new rubric. Then we have the option to pick the type of rubric we want to create. We can do an analytic or a holistic. An analytic is what most people think of when they think of a rubric, with the criterion listed here of what categories you're going to be looking at, as well as the scoring here up above of what scores the students can earn, the level of scores. So first of all, we want to give it a title, as well as the criteria. So in this case, the criteria I'm going to be looking at is the content of their post, their citations, and their writing. If I want to add more criteria, I can choose here, and it will add another block for me. If I want to delete criteria, I can always delete that. The next, I want to define my different levels. So by default, it has level 3, level 2, level 1, but you can rename these if you like. So meets expectations, almost meets, doesn't meet, or levels 1, 2, or 3, or whatever you really want to name it. And then you want to assign the points for these. So if they earn the highest meets expectations for each of these, maybe they earn 10 points, and then 5, and then 0. So in that case, if they earn the highest scores in all 3 areas, which is 10 points each, the total will be 30 points. This will be very important to note because you'll need to put the highest grade as being 30 when you create the grade item for it. That's going to be very important. And then now that you have your criteria and your levels, the next thing would be to fill in your qualifiers of, if I earn a meets expectations for content, what do I do to earn that? So here I kept it simple of, if you answer all the questions in the prompt, you're going to meet expectations. If you answer some of them, you're going to get this one, so on and so forth. I kept it very easy. You'll probably have much more detail for the qualifiers here. Next, you can add in individual feedback if you want. This is going to be feedback that's automatically going to populate if you pick this for grading. So if I chose this for any particular student, I can automatically have the feedback say, good, great job. Or, something like, or whatever you want. You can, of course, give individual feedback, which you probably will when you actually grade individual work, but this is just some general stuff that you can fill in. Then we're going to scroll on down. Also, just note up here at the top that you can add different levels. 3 is what most people use, but you can add in 4 or 5 if you want to make meets expectations, almost meets expectations, kind of meets expectations, whatever. You can add in different levels as you can add in different criteria. Then down at the bottom, you're going to add in the overall scoring. So this is going to be overall for the rubric. This is going to be scoring for individual criteria. But notice that the total is 30. So say that they earn, 28 out of 30 points. So 28, 29, or 30 out of 30 points, they're going to reach level 3, which is successful. If they score, say, 25 up to 28, they get it on the way. And then if they score, anything below that, they need help. And then you can put in qualifiers here. So the important difference here is that These are for any individual content. This is going to be for the overall. So if they earn 25 out of 30 for this discussion post, it's going to give them a on the way. If they earn 30 out of 30, it's going to give them a successful. So that's just overall information here. And again, you could fill these out with all the different qualifiers if you like. Next, we want to go down to options, and we want to make sure that the rubric is visible to the students, and we want to make sure that the competency in the e-portfolio are checked. Notice up here at the top that it auto saves it, so there's not there's no need for you to have to save it. You just want to make sure that it is checked there. So now that we've created our rubric, we're ready to go ahead and make our assignments and our discussions and associate them to the rubric. So let's make it a discussion and associate the rubric to it first. So I'll create a new discussion or edit a discussion I've already created, and I just want to include the title and then the prompt as normal. And then under here, under restrictions, I of course want to put the open and due dates for the assignment itself. And then under assessment is where I'm going to attach this rubric. So here I want to make sure that I do associate it to a grade item. And I want to make sure that this score out of is 30. If you remember, that's going to be very important, that the highest grade I put on my rubric, if you remember earlier, was 30. So my score out of needs to be 30. Then I can just choose to add the rubric, and I'm going to pick whatever rubric I've just created and then add that in. If I want to create a new rubric, I can just choose that. So this is what I mean by you can use the rubric in multiple locations. If I want to use this discussion rubric multiple times, I could just associate this rubric to all the discussions that I have to be able to use it. So then I'll choose Save and Close. So now when the student views the discussion, they'll see the prompt of what they're supposed to be posting about, as well as a link to the rubric. They're able to click on that and open that up to see how they're going to be graded before they even post. And then of course they would start a thread and post as normal. To grade the discussion with the rubric, you would do just about the way that you normally grade a discussion. You'll choose discussions, you'll find it and choose the drop down and assess topic. So we'll find it and we'll choose to assess the topic. Then from here, I'll be able to click on the topic score for that particular student, and I'll be able to see the rubric that I can just simply click to give her her feedback. So here I can see her post. I can see that she did one original thread, no replies. I'm able to click right here on this rubric, and I'm able to choose the different ones. So I know that this looks a little bit different than the initial rubric, but this is the meets expectations, and then it tells you the qualifiers below, and it'll show you the points. So you're welcome to do it that way, or if you really want to be able to see it a little bit more clearly, you can always choose this pop out. And then from there, you're actually able to pop it out and see what you actually created a little bit better. So then I would just cherry pick, the responses here. Notice that when I selected answers all questions, it automatically populated with this because I had created that to be the automatic feedback there. But then of course I can add in more feedback individually. And then it's automatically going to give us the overall score. Since she's scoring 25 out of 30, it's automatically going to put her on the way, which is the overall score that I set up initially. So we'll close that. That will automatically populate, and then it will automatically give her her score. I can type in more feedback here if I want to, but I don't have to. And then I would choose to publish. And so that's the process for grading with a rubric. Keep in mind, here is where you can click to open it up to view a full screen, and then here's where you can actually see the statistics. So you'll be able to click on this and you'll be able to see the statistics of what you have going on. Now granted, there's only one person graded with this rubric at this point, but you would be able to see how many are successful, on the way, or needs help, as well as how many here under criteria are meeting expectations, etc. And then if you want to see individual students, you're able to look at individual statistics and see specifically how she scored all at one glance. If you just want to see at one glance on one document how all the students in the course scored. But again, the criteria statistics will probably be helpful to know what levels people are hitting for each category or criteria, as well as overall what they are matching. So now let's do this for the assignments area, which is very similar. So to begin with, you want to create the rubric like normal in your course admin area. So once you create your rubric, you're able to associate it to the assignment. So we'll make a new assignment, and it's going to be the same, pretty much the same process that you use for the discussion. So here you would give your assignment a title. You would want to make sure that it is graded in the grade book, and that you do put in the allotment of points. Remember, keep in mind that the 30 needs to match with a 30 or whatever your overall points are going to be for that. And then you would have your instructions, and then your dates and availability of when it's open, and then the submission completion. And then what we're going to be looking for is going to be underneath the evaluation and feedback criteria. And here we're going to add in the rubric. We're going to just add an existing one, which is going to pull from the list that we have. And then we're just going to find it, add selected, and now that rubric is associated to this grade item or this assignment area. Now, as the student, when I go to submit my assignment, notice that when I go to the area where I'm going to upload my file, I can actually see the rubric displayed right here, which makes it easy to kind of do a self-check before I submit my file. Then I would just add a file and upload it and submit it as normal. To do your grading for the assignment using the rubric, you're going to grade very similar as you would without one. You're going to go to your assignments area, click on the assignment. You'll be able to see the post, and then we're just going to choose to evaluate. And then over on the left panel, we'll be able to see the paper itself. So I'll be able to click on this for it to display. And then over here we see where our rubric has been linked. So from here we'll just click on this. And like we saw in the discussions, we have the mini editor, if you will, where you can click these options and add feedback. Or if you want it a little bit more expanded out, choose this expanded option, and it will open up in a new window to help you see it a little bit better. Same process for adding feedback or giving the overall feedback, and then it's automatically going to give the overall score. When you close that, it's automatically going to populate for you, and you can publish that. Also, just like with the discussions, you can go to the rubrics here, and you'll be able to view the rubrics. You'll be able to see the overall, and then you'll be able to see the criteria statistics for each individual criteria, as well as individual statistics if you just want to see individually how the students were doing. Another place to see those rubric statistics is to go to your course admin area, and then to find the rubrics area here, which is where you initially created the rubric in the first place. And then you can choose the rubric and choose to view statistics. And then you're able to see some more statistics for this particular rubric. And to do that, you would want to choose the competency activities, and then over on the side you can choose the statistics. But just so far, the issues in education project rubric, 24 people have been graded with it. The average level is on my level 3, and the average score is an 83. I'm able to click on this, and it will give me even more data. So here I can see that for the levels, 58% of the people who have been scored using this rubric have met level 2. 42 have met level 3, and then 0 have met level 1. So it kind of gives me the overall viewpoint that most people have scored in the middle range. A couple of people have scored in the upper range. And I can do that for the criteria statistics as well. And so here, these have been assigned by points. So most people are receiving 20 points for the content criteria. 67% are receiving the 20 points for the citations. I do have some that have received 0 points. So by looking at this data, I might say, wow, I need some more instruction related to citations for this project, because I have 25% of people getting 0 points for that. Same thing here with citations, and then the voiceover component of it. Maybe I need to go over the voiceover component because a couple of people did not have a voiceover, got 0 points for that. And so you can see that individual criteria, as well as if you choose the individual statistics, it'll give you the list of the individual students and how they scored.